Sports Jam's Questions of the Week.
Why is the Big Ten upset about the miracle Hail Mary in Lansing?
Is Terrell Owens going to Chicago Bears?
And what is the NFL X?
Sounds like we need some answers. Let's start the show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports Jam alongside Stephen Peffer and Rob Steele. I'm Chad Cetera. We are only a week away from number 1 versus number 2 as LSU and Alabama get ready to play for probably the national championship game bid. But we've got other football to talk about before then. 1 week, and then we can talk the real game.
Clash of the Titans, Chad. Clash of the Titans.
So, gentlemen, as we get ready, LSU and Alabama both have a bye this week. They are number 1 and number 2. The hype is there. The talk is there. The clash for the Titans is going to be there. But there's other football we have to talk about. And the BCS saw a major shift in the top 5 as Oklahoma went down. But now they can become the spoiler. They head to Manhattan. Oklahoma at Kansas State this week. Stephen, this was going to be an undefeated versus undefeated game, but Oklahoma flopped, and now it's Kansas State as the undefeated team?
Yeah, it's a little weird. It would have been good till the game started if it was undefeated versus undefeated, but now all Oklahoma is angry because they just got manhandled by Texas A&M, or Texas Tech, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at that game, Texas Tech dominated. 35 minutes of possession to 25 for Oklahoma. But the story is Landry Jones. I mean, what a performance he had in a losing effort. And now he's out of the Heisman chase because they lost, and now he's mad. I look at it this way. Landry Jones against Kansas State is going to be sick. He had 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in a losing effort. What's he going to do to the Wildcat defense? Oklahoma wins this game by 21, and that's before we even get out of the first quarter.
Yeah, but I was going to say by 21, they're winning by about 40. Kansas State is a good team, but they get outgained every week by their opponent, and now they're playing. Oklahoma's still a powerhouse. Texas Tech threw all over them, but Kansas State offense isn't Texas Tech.
No, they're not. And who did they play the last week? They played, what, Kansas?
Yeah, anybody. I can beat Kansas.
Well, I mean, everybody's beaten Kansas this year. Everybody scored 70 points plus against Kansas this year. So you look at that, and let's just hypothetically think that Kansas State wins this game. Some kind of miracle. Anything is possible. Miracles do happen. We saw that in the Michigan State-Wisconsin game. It's going to take an act of Congress to pass a law to stop Oklahoma from crossing over into the border to get to this game to where they can play full strength. It's not going to happen. I don't even know why I'm sitting here thinking there's going to be a miracle there. Oklahoma's too powerful. That dream matchup next week, a battle of another 2 undefeated teams in the top 10 of the BCS, Kansas State, Oklahoma State. You might get one undefeated team, but not the other. Stephen, Oklahoma, by a landslide.
I agree. In Oklahoma, they play number 8, Kansas State, number 16, A&M, and then they play number 3, Oklahoma State. So they went out, and more crazy stuff happens. You know it does every year. They might have a shot. What do you think?
Yeah, they actually do. I mean, their strength of schedule increases. You look at the teams ahead of them. Obviously, LSU, Alabama have to play each other. One of them's going to lose, and if that game's a blowout, which you called last week that Alabama's going to blow them out, let's say that happens. You look at the teams and say, wow, Oklahoma, they just keep on chipping away. Boise State plays the 2 worst teams in college football there, but they play UNLV next week. So Boise State, your only case is Georgia has to win out. Not only does Georgia have to win out, Georgia has to win the SEC title. They play Florida this week, Stephen. I think their hopes go down.
Well, Brantley is coming back, and I think with Brantley, healthy 100% or not, Florida will win this game. Florida's a good team when they have Brantley, but they didn't have a quarterback the last couple of weeks, and you saw no offense, played great D. I just don't think Georgia can get it done.
And Georgia almost lost to Vanderbilt. I mean, come on. Nobody loses to Vanderbilt. Seriously. Nobody loses to Vanderbilt, and they almost did, and, that's one of those, they wanted to give it away. Georgia, what is it? The game is in Jacksonville. It's a neutral site game. To me, no big deal. It's still in the state of Florida. I'm taking the Gators in that one. But let's switch back to the Big 12 real quick. Oklahoma State, and to me, is a premier game against Baylor. Baylor has I mean, they have Griffin III, and he's still a stellar quarterback. His stock is rising to be an NFL prospect. But Oklahoma State, they could be the real deal for the rest of the season until that matchup against Oklahoma, just 5 weeks away.
I like Oklahoma State. They don't have a defense, which nobody in the Big 12 does. But can they keep scoring week in, week out? Can they keep putting up those huge numbers? Somebody score that many points every week. There's no way. They're going to falter. Probably not against Baylor.
Baylor, they're going to score 100 points against. Then they play Kansas State. We're going to see the true Kansas State team come out this week against Oklahoma. Then they play Texas Tech, and you know what Texas Tech does. They just score, and they give up a lot of points. Then they play Iowa State. I mean, come on. Oklahoma State's they're going to run the table until they play Oklahoma.
I don't know. At Texas Tech, though. At Texas Tech, Chad. They beat Oklahoma, they can beat Oklahoma State.
Cinderella only survives one dance. Cinderella cannot survive two dances against two teams from the same state.
Did they not look solid? Their offense, not defense, but did they not look solid on offense?
I mean, they did look solid, and when you look at the stats of that game, we'll go back to that one. Seth Doge had 441 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Yeah, they look solid, but come on. I mean, they say, Cinderella finds a glass slipper somewhere every once in a while, puts it on, miracles happen, and Texas Tech had a miracle. It was a miracle. You play that game 10 times, Texas Tech doesn't win that game but a half a time. And they got that half a time and barely held on to beat Oklahoma at the end. Well, gentlemen, I think we could talk about the Heisman Trophy award, but there's no sense. It's a 2-man race. It will always be a 2-man race, and all the media outlets will continue to pump it in our heads, knowing that it's only Andrew Luck or Kellen Moore that are going to win the Heisman. Is that accurate, Stephen?
Yeah, they were predestined to battle it out this year. That's what the media wants. It doesn't matter who does anything else, so whatever.
It's going to be Andrew Luck because everyone on the planet has said that, and unless he comes out to be a child porn watching, mass murdering, genocidal alien from Venus, it's going to be Andrew Luck.
Well, then I think it's going to be Andrew Luck.
The only reason the alien from Venus thing is going to count is because they're going to call him an illegal alien and try to send him back home.
He might get some of those. I don't think he can get all of them.
Gentlemen, before we go into our NFL picks of the week, just want to comment. I got an email from one of our listeners, and he challenged me on the statement about Boise State entering the Big 12. And my comment was, everybody in the Big 12 is afraid of Boise State. Listener writes, Boise State has no business being in a big conference. It's not that the Big 12 is afraid of them, because they're not. The Big 12 doesn't want them because Boise State does not bring a lot of varsity sports. Boise State only has 17. And he also mentioned, which I'm disputing, is that Boise State's academic rating is poor at best. Well, listener, sources the U.S. News, data poll. If you look at this and go on the internet and see for yourself, you'll note that if Boise State, which ranks 57th out of 400 plus colleges that were in this poll, if they were to enter the Big 12, they would immediately be the second highest rated educational academic school in the Big 12, right behind the University of Texas. Boise State has a fantastic master's degree program. So for all of you that think Boise State's educational level and academics are poor, think again. It's just because they only have 17 varsity sports and that nobody wants to bring them on just because it's football only at Boise State, nothing else.